Hello everyone, and welcome back to English Yard. Today, we ask a powerful question. Why do some people get rich while others stay poor all their life? Is it luck? Is it talent? Or is it something we can all learn? To find the answer, we will look at one of the most famous books about money. Rich Dad, Poor Dad by Robert Kiyosaki. This is not just a book about finance. It is a story. A story about two fathers, two ways of thinking, and two different lives. So relax, listen carefully, read the subtitles, and improve your English while learning secrets of success. Introduction to the story. Robert Kiyosaki grew up in Hawaii. He had two father figures in his life. The first was his real father. Robert calls him the poor dad. He was well educated, worked for the government, and believed in school, job, and security. But he struggled with money all his life. The second father was the dad of his best friend Mike. Robert calls him the rich dad. He never finished college, but he was smart in business, knew how money worked, and built wealth over time. Robert listened to both of them. Poor dad said, "Go to school, get good grades, find a safe job." Rich dad said, "Learn how money works. Do not just work for money, make money work for you." From these two voices, Robert learned that mindset matters more than background. Now let's explore the main lessons from Rich Dad. Lesson 1. The rich do not work for money. When Robert was young, he wanted to be rich. His poor dad told him, "Study hard and find a job." But his rich dad said something shocking. The rich do not work for money. What does this mean? It means rich people do not only rely on salary. They build systems. They create businesses. They invest in assets. Example: if you work at a company, you exchange your time for money. When you stop working, the money stops too. But if you own a business or an investment property, money can continue to come even while you sleep. So the first lesson is, do not depend only on your job. Start thinking how to create income that works for you. Rich Dad always told Robert, the most important subject in the world is money. But the problem is, schools do not teach it. You learn math, history, literature, but not how to manage your finances. Financial education means knowing the difference between assets and liabilities. An asset puts money in your pocket. A liability takes money out of your pocket. For example, if you buy a rental property that gives you rent every month, that is an asset. But if you buy an expensive car with a loan, that is a liability. Poor people and middle class often buy liabilities, thinking they are assets. Rich people focus on buying assets. This simple lesson can change your future. Lesson 3. Mindset and opportunities. Poor dad was always worried about risk. He said, "Be careful. Do not lose your job. Do not take chances." Rich dad said, "Opportunities come and go. Learn to see them and take them." If you think money is evil, you will never attract it. If you think rich people are greedy, you will never want to become rich. But if you think money is a tool, you will start to learn how to use it. So change your mindset. Do not fear risk. Learn to manage it. Lesson 4. Work to learn, not just to earn. Rich Dad told Robert, "Do not work for money, work to learn." When you are young, the most important thing is not salary. The most important thing is skills. If you work in sales, you learn how to communicate. If you work in marketing, you learn how to understand people. If you work in a small business, you learn how the whole system works. These skills become more valuable than the paycheck. Poor dad looked only at salary. Rich dad looked at skills. So ask yourself, are you working only for money, or are you learning skills for the future? Lesson 5. The rich invent money. Robert learned from Rich Dad that money is not fixed. Opportunities are created. Rich people find ways to invest, to create value, to build systems. Poor dad often said, I cannot afford it. Rich Dad said, how can I afford it? Do you see the difference? One statement closes the mind. The other opens the mind. When you say, I cannot, your brain stops thinking. When you say, how can I? Your brain starts to search for answers. The language you use shapes your future. Lesson 6. Taxes and corporations. One of the most powerful lessons from Rich Dad is about taxes. Poor and middle-class people pay the most taxes. Rich people use corporations and systems to reduce their taxes legally. For example, when you earn salary, you pay tax first, then you spend what is left. But if you own a corporation, you spend first, then you pay tax on what is left. This is why financial education is important. Without knowledge, you will always pay more and work harder. Lesson 7. The importance of taking action. Many people read books, attend seminars, and talk about success. But few take action. Rich Dad always said, knowledge is nothing without action. You can study money for years, but until you buy your first asset, start your first small business, or make your first investment, nothing changes. Fear stops most people. Fear of losing money. Fear of looking stupid. But failure is part of learning. Every rich person failed many times before success. So do not wait for the perfect moment. Start small, start now. Review of key lessons. Let's review quickly what we learned. The rich do not work for money. Focus on financial education. Assets put money in your pocket. Liabilities take it out. Change your mindset from fear to opportunity. Work to learn skills, not only to earn salary. Use systems and corporations to reduce taxes. Knowledge is nothing without action. These are the 7 powerful lessons from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Final thoughts. Robert Kiyosaki had 2 fathers. One was Poor Dad, smart, educated, but financially weak. The other was Rich Dad, less educated, but financially wise. From these 2 fathers, Robert chose to follow Rich Dad's advice. And he became a successful businessman, investor, and teacher. The truth is, we all have the same choice. We can think like Poor Dad and stay safe but poor. Or we can think like Rich Dad and learn to build wealth and freedom. Which one will you choose? Call to action. Now I want to ask you, if you had to choose, would you follow Poor Dad's path or Rich Dad's path? Write your answer in the comments. And if you enjoyed learning English through this story, please subscribe to English Yard. We share powerful stories that improve your English and inspire your life. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.